part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane,
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
You're listening to the Krypton Report.
And we're back, that's right. The Krypton Report, that's us. It's been a little bit. Happy December. I'm your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the Man of Tomorrow. This is the Krypton Report, your all Superman DC podcast. And with me, if you haven't met, is the only man who can make a snowball bounce, Mr. James Cole. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, it's tricky. But
Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to have some fun. We got a cool thing planned out here. But first, we're going to talk about some news. I have compiled a list, but as of now, December 1st, there is a crap ton of DC films on Netflix. They just dropped it. Basically almost their entire catalog, it feels like. So currently on Netflix, we have Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman 84, Shazam, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, Shazam Fury of the Gods, and The Batman.
yeah, I mean, it's clear that the time they've spent searching for income routes to draw some extra money from the DC brand is why they sent it over there. And I'm sure Netflix was willing to pay, especially how popular Snyder is over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're seeing.
I mean, the CCXP stuff, like Rebel Moon stole a show.
Of course it did.
I saw Ray Fisher come out on stage, and he was having a great time. And I don't know Portuguese, but they were chanting Cyborg. And I can only imagine what that might be.
You think it's something
loud chanting?
You think it's good?
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure they were chanting Cyborg. Chanting Cyborg. Yeah.
Yes, that thing. Yeah.
Yes, that thing. So it was really cool. So I mean, I'm sure that helped with getting a couple of his movies over there too.
He's gonna be that actor. I'm really big in Portugal.
Which, well, that's in Brazil, but they speak Portuguese.
You know what I was? Man, James undercut the joke. But yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm really big in Brazil. You know, like how the Brian Setzer Orchestra is really big in Japan.
But I heard that over there that Man of Steel has like the most thumbs up of anything on Netflix.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and that Suicide Squad is one of the top watched DC movies.
Yeah.
Not the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad.
Okay, so I'm logging into my Netflix right now as we're talking. Happy December, James.
Happy December, Tyler.
All right.
'Tis the season.
To be judged. I'm looking at the top 10 movies in the U.S. today. Number 5 is Suicide Squad.
Ooh, it was number 6 earlier.
Oh, sorry. And we forgot one. Number 8 is Black Adam. So Black Adam is also on Netflix. And then number 10 is The Suicide Squad. So, yeah. I miss the old style of rating. I don't like just the thumbs up, thumbs down. I think it's too generic. Because like most of the stuff I watch is more of a thumbs up, you know? So I like a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, so now they have, at least over there, they have 3 ratings. They have thumbs down, thumbs up, and 2 thumbs up. So, at least it's like if you love it, you can give 2 thumbs up. If you like it, you can give it 1 thumb up. And if you don't, you can give it thumbs down, because I'm the same way. Most things I tend to watch, I tend to at least like and enjoy, So most things would get a single thumbs up from me. But Man of Steel, that's a double thumbs up.
That's why, I like the IMDb rating scales. Speaking of Suicide Squad, we got a trailer for the Suicide Squad anime. You see this?
Yes, I did.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
Cool. Tell me about it, because I
did.
I saw images. Honestly, I forgot to watch it. I mean, it's no big deal. Like, everyone knows I'm not a huge anime fan, but we saw Peacemaker, King Shark, Harley, Deadshot, some pictures of Clayface. I even forgot they were doing this, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So it's Suicide Squad Isaka. I'm sorry if I'm butchering a Japanese word. But it stands for like other world. So it's like the Suicide Squad. They go to like this Japanese fantasy world, which is another world, and it's got like different kinds of creatures, beings, sentient, like dragons and people, like warthog people and different things. So and something that looks like ogre-esque. So it's gonna literally be like the Suicide Squad in a different universe.
All right.
Very anime style.
Sounds fun.
So my kids like the anime. I liked anime growing up, and they both really are into anime. So, like Belle's one of Belle's favorite movies right now is the Catwoman Hunted.
I got to get through that.
It's a good movie. It is a good movie. It just takes if you're not interested in anime, it's actually really quality anime. It's not just a generic anime. I don't want to say generic but in the same styles of multiple episodes of things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Dragon Ball, Naruto, like Bleach, and people will understand a lot of the similarities and the fact that they have like dozens and dozens upon dozens upon dozens of episodes, if not hundreds of episodes. So it's a certain anime style, and we have an understanding of television animation versus movie animation.
Yeah.
The quality, the time, the effort that's able to be put into those things. So the style of anime in that is really good, and compared to like things like Batman Ninja is a very particular style.
That one's hard to watch, man.
and I don't think that Catwoman Hunted is near that line of animation style, which I think would make it much more bearable for you to watch. I mean, you watch a lot of cartoons anyways. This one's just leaning a little anime style, you know what I mean? But it's not. Yep. It's really not full on anime like this Suicide Squad movie is going to be. But the quality of this animation looks really great.
We shall see. Speaking of animation, we got
If it
another
wasn't for the
trailer.
holidays, I'd have Justice League Ruby Part 2, but I don't have that yet.
Mm-hmm. We got our next trailer for Crisis.
Yeah. The one that disappeared that day.
The the trailer that is for the first part is interesting. I haven't watched them enough to compare everything, but it definitely looks like the first trailer, the Crisis Part 1 is going to involve the Earth 3 and the what do you call it? Why am I blinking what they're called? Crime Syndicate. Jeez.
The Crime Syndicate. Yeah.
Yeah, so like we see them a lot. We see the Flash in trouble. Of course, we see the Flash in trouble. And then we got our release dates. And I find this very interesting, James, because January 9th, the digital will drop. The Blu-ray will drop January 23rd. So they're going back to a staggered
doing
release.
that. Yeah, I think they're going to try and push that digital again, you know?
And I hate it because it makes me want to double dip.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you get it, I'll watch it.
Well, yeah,
but
of course.
I'll be waiting for the... Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's what you guys always do. Tyler bought it. We'll watch it.
But I will wait until the physical release.
I'm definitely going to buy
and
it.
Get it.
I already pre-ordered the physical from Amazon. Usually I'll probably just go buy it at Walmart, but I do it just because in case I forget or get busy, it'll, ship and come. So.
Yeah. Well, these days you got to get there. You got to get there like the week it drops because they remodeled Walmarts to look kind of like crappy Myers, and they eliminated so much of their physical media DVD Blu-ray section.
Oh yeah,
It's still a section there, but
if you don't get it when it first comes out, like it just gets lost in the fold, and then stuff that you think would be available to find, you can't find. It's like they just sell stuff, and then whatever's left over, they'll keep. Like,
yeah.
And it sucks because it's like physical media, we want to buy it, but you don't have it. So why else do you think we order it from Amazon? Or like, I could order stuff from Walmart and pick up in store, but whatever. So that's the release on the Crisis. Excuse me. And that's all.
So you had the chance to watch the trailer now. Last time we spoke, that trailer. So this trailer that came out was a trailer that was leaked the same day prior to the trilogy trailer announcement that came out that day. Because that was the only one that was officially released. But now they released Part 1 trailer.
Yep.
So what did you think of the Part 1 trailer as opposed to the trilogy trailer? Because there's a lot of characters
in the Part 1. I mean, it definitely sounded like that was George Newbern's voice on one of the Supermen. But like I said, I haven't sat down and compared the trailer with the trilogy trailer to really see if I can dissect what's in the first movie compared to what's going to be in the other movies.
Well, I don't mean to dissect like what's because it's clearly going to be a more it's going to be a faithful adaptation of Crisis in a manner that fits with what they've been doing in their animated universe.
Yeah.
So, but as a 3-part, and just kind of from the look of the monitor, and there being multiple versions of these characters from different Earths, like and the antimatter wave and everything, they're doing a fairly faithful adaptation. We'll see how many beats they actually tend to want to hit, because the Crime Syndicate, I believe, if I remember correctly, had a small part in an early chunk of Crisis, but like I said, it was a small part.
I mean, it's been what 3-4 years since we read that. Like we looked at it back when they did the Crisis stuff on TV.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
So I'm game for it. Like one trailer, I feel like I don't know where Flash is. What happened to Flash? Like, will he make it through the first Crisis and die in part 2? I don't know.
Right. Like, yeah, I'm interested to see how faithful they go with it. Because if they're doing Crisis, clearly the next bit of animation is going to be something different. If it's not folded into the DCU.
I think it's going to get folded into the DCU. I think that's kind of why they're doing Crisis. But at the same time, they would have had a plan.
The animation
Crisis.
division has been different.
It has been, but they're supposed to be the synergy, but supposedly Elseworlds as well. So I don't know, because I feel like we've talked about this. I mean, think how long it was, what, 10 years that the last connected animated verse was, because Justice.
Oh, when it kicked off, yeah, it was around 12 or.
It was like
13,
8 years.
12.
It was. I want to say it was 13. It had to be 13
When
or
it
early
kicked off.
14. We just did all these reviews. We can't keep shit straight. I think it was the end of 13 with Justice League War and Flashpoint
Well,
Paradox.
yeah, remembering every single release date is pushing it a little bit.
So, and then it ended in 2020, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it ended in 2020. So, I mean, it's a good 7 years of multiple layered films. And then, the Tomorrowverse started in what, 2021?
Sounds right with Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah. I think it came out early 2021. Let me, excuse me, double check. I'm a little slow today.
But there was a lot of characters in the Monitor ship.
No, it came out. It started in 2020. Started in 2020.
Oh, okay.
So it started the same year the other one ended. But so here we are in 2020. We'll say 2024. We're ending it. So it had 4 years with 1 to maybe 2 movies a year, and we've only had Superman, Man of Tomorrow, the Justice Society,
yeah.
The 2-parter /1 of Long Halloween. So I'll count that as 1 movie.
Yeah.
Then the Green Lantern film, the Legion film, and now then we had World, which I still was disappointed with. That's 6 movies, and then 7, 8, 9. So it'll conclude with 9 movie run. And then 9, we'll say 9.5. We'll throw in with Constantine.
Right.
It was a short, but it connects the 2 different ones. So 9.5. That's not bad. But still, like, we had like that many just Batman movies. With the last connected universe. So
yeah, that's funny.
Because we had what? We had the Damian trilogy, 2 Teen Titans, 2 Justice League Darks.
Justice League War, Justice League Throne of Atlantis, Justice League versus the Teen Titans,
the 2 deaths of Superman, or the 1 death, depending if you want to look at it.
Yeah, the death and return of Superman,
the Suicide Squad.
I was to say, if I could see my shelf from here, I could read them off.
I'm just trying to go all by memory. So I mean,
yep.
That's that's a good chunk of movies.
Yeah, the last universe had a lot of movies. This one really went by quick. I mean, there's a lot of things we talked about a lot of things being done off screen, progressing time off screen, which they did great with Young Justice, but they did horribly with the Tomorrowverse.
Yeah, they just made it jump. Like, I mean, even like characters who got introduced in the last continuity that we didn't really get to see, but the Tomorrowverse was just like bloop, bloop. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But okay. So today we're going to do something different. We're going to talk about Superman, yes, but we are going to talk about songs. We are created our own Sounds of the Man of Steel list. That's right. So I scoured the internet and looked up songs about Superman. Now, I compiled a list of about 21 songs. Now, there might be some more that you might think beyond this list. I get it. There's a couple that had that the song was named Superman, but I had my criteria. And my criteria was the song had to reflect the character, make references to the character, and feel it was kind of about the character or the spirit of the character. Not just use the term Superman or have the term Superman in the song. Like, the Eminem Rihanna song says, I have my cape to the wind. I'm Superman, you're Lois Lane. That doesn't count. The song Holding Out for a Hero makes the reference. It's going to take a Superman to sweep me off my feet. Those don't count. Didn't count those. One thing that a lot of you might not know on this podcast, because I don't talk about it, I am a musician. I was in a band for a while. The theme music that we have for the podcast is one of my old bands playing. I'm the bass player. I do love music. I have a very interesting history and past with music and the music industry in itself. I don't talk about that much. I only talk about it and tell the story to close friends. So sometimes music can be hard to discuss, but I do, especially pop music in a sense, or just like not orchestra music. But I thought this would be fun. It's a different kind of homework. So what we did was, instead of ranking all these songs, we took all these songs, listened to them, and then made our top 10. So what you're going to hear is James.
I don't know if it's exactly in top 10 order, but I do have a top 10.
So you'll listen to James and I give our top 10, and we'll kind of talk about why and what that song represents, what was about it, and we'll go from there. So in the show notes, you'll find the link to the document in my Google Drive that has the song title and the YouTube link, so you can hear the songs yourself. Most of them I knew. There's some that I discovered for the first time, and it was kind of interesting. There's one especially, and I'll talk about it. And without further ado, we're going to get funky and rock out to some Superman songs. So, starting with number 10, Superman Red, Mr. James Cole, what do you have?
Oh, number 10.
10-1, bro.
Yeah. You're right. Like I said, it's not in any particular order, but it is in a descending order. So, I went with Keith Urban's Superman.
Oh, okay. We're going to clap just for fun, but okay, why? What?
More of just a catchy tune, enjoyable song. It's just, I mean, that's kind of it, it's something that I could listen to. That if I heard, I wouldn't just like have to change it or anything.
I find it fascinating.
There were some songs on the list where I was like about halfway, 3/4 through, and I was like, okay, well, I'm done with that.
Yep, I know. There are. I agree with you, but that that was.
But there are different versions of music, and I don't have anything against it. I gave it a listen.
There's, like I said, there's a couple on here that I was like, where did this song come from? My number 10 is Superman by Goldfinger, or the acoustic cover by Mike Herrera. Now, I'm a big MXPX fan. I got to meet them a couple of times. And this song was cool, like the original Goldfinger. Goldfinger was a punk rock ska band. Was cool, but when Mike Herrera did it acoustically, it just hit a much harder like feeling for me. The song says, "Here I am, doing all I can to be a Superman," and I feel like the song really talks about just like self-reflection of like this one borderlines where is it about the character or about the idea of a Superman, but I feel like it can be introspective of like even if you are Superman, looking at yourself like, am I Superman, and how I'm trying to be Superman. So that's my number 10. James Cole, you're number 9.
I went with Crash Test Dummies.
Had you ever heard this song before?
So I had not. So there's a lot of songs on this list that are just called Superman.
Yes, there are.
So so I think that's the name. I just wrote the band on this one. I think that was the name of the song.
It's Superman's Song is what the title is.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I had never heard. Okay, so I had never heard I've heard of the band. I don't believe I've ever heard anything they've ever done, and I have not heard this song before. The reason that it's number 9 on this list, it's extremely unique, and it's a very interesting way of telling stories through song.
Yes.
Like they very much just talk about, reference Superman and things he does and Lois Lane, and just, yeah, it's it's interesting.
I'm not ready to talk about this song yet.
Okay.
But to touch on the Crash Test Dummies, the only thing I had ever heard from them was the it's like a whole chorus where he just hums, and it was on one of those like VH1 like top 90s songs of the 90s or something. They used to do those countdowns or whatever in the good old days.
Yeah.
And they were on there. But yeah, we'll talk. This will be back. My number 9 I picked because it's one of Jania's favorites, and she likes to listen to it because it like always made her feel strong. And this was before we were even together. Is I'm Supergirl by Crystal Harris. And it's one of those songs that Sayla really likes, and it's funny because Crystal Harris is like barely done anything musically, and for the longest time, some people put this online thinking it was Pink in an early, because Crystal Harris was kind of like a Pink wannabe. But that is my number 9. Is just kind of, I felt like it was really cool. And then after
that was a good one.
Before I'm gonna throw out before we do our number 1, we'll throw in some couple honorable mentions. But what's your number 8?
Okay. Well, apparently I started one too low. Either way.
Huh?
I said I think I started with my number 11. But right here I got Charlie Puth, One Call Away.
Nice.
Very good song. I enjoy his melody, his voice. The songs are very easy to listen to. It's pretty good.
It is. It's on here because of the dialogue of the song, but also the song was featured in Supergirl, the TV show. And it's Jania's ringtone. when she calls me.
Oh, nice.
And it's been that way for a while because she is my Supergirl, my Lois Lane, and my Wonder Woman, all wrapped up into one. My number 8, as soon as I find it, is from this little pop punk band called Good Charlotte. It's called Superman Can't Walk. And I liked it just because it talks about, it referenced Superman, Lois Lane, and even makes a reference to Dr. Evil in it. But it talks about just like kind of being Superman and kind of being like just crippled by something. And it was my number 8. Number 7, James.
Cool. Well, actually, I'm gonna be going. This is my actual number 8, but I'll do number 8 and number 7.
Okay,
I said, I accidentally started with my number 11.
All right, so
you want to throw in your number 11 real
yep,
quick?
I'm gonna throw it real quick. My number 11 is Superman by Unwritten Law. Unwritten Law is if you kind of catch, you'll figure out my groove, is a punk rock-esque alternative band that I got to meet and see back in the early 2000s. And the chorus is, "Oh yeah, I'm Superman. Here I come to save the day." I love this song, but it just barely made the cutoff. Yeah. So that's my number 11. So we're making our top 11 songs. All right, James.
That's my number 12. So anyways, number 8 is Laszlo Bane, I'm No Superman.
Also known as the theme from Scrubs.
I was going to say, I think I think that's where everybody would know it from. I'm No Superman, the theme from Scrubs. Very nostalgic for the show. Just the theme song pulled me in to watch the show from the very beginning.
You heard Superman, was like, what?
And yeah, and so I watched it, and great show with a great song, title song, and yeah.
All right, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Tom MacDonald's Superman.
I'm just this. I just discovered this song on a whim. Like it's brand, like it came out like a day. I found it a day after it came out. It kind of like like stuff that I had looked up on like Apple Music and stuff. Like it's part of it just popped up, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna add this to the list. And ironically, it's my number 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. It's actually a really good song. He's an interesting musician.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard any other of his songs.
When I showed Jania, she's like, isn't he like a big rapper or something? I'm like, I don't know. And then we looked him up, and
yeah. So he is a rapper. He definitely looks like some kind of punk guy or whatever. Tattoos, like he's tattooed on his face, his head, like he's full body covered. He usually does rap songs and things. The interesting thing about his music is he's very extremely socially conscious about the music. Really, like attacking the system on how it puts people down.
Mm-hmm.
Among a lot of other things, racism, all kinds of stuff. He is a musician who is not afraid to touch on issues, which is why I have enjoyed a lot of his music. But then I listened to this, which I had not heard before. It literally only came out 3 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Apparently.
See?
So
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was the day after it dropped on Apple Music that I found.
Yeah, you just found it just before you made this list. But yeah, really good song, and the fact that he plays it acoustically.
Right.
And This is a song I wish I had spent more time listening to and took some lyrics from, but he definitely sings about Superman coming to save the day. He's playing in front of a missile, and he's singing about Superman disarming and saving the world, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I'll make a comment about his song again later, because there's two songs on here that I kind of wish were blended together. We'll talk about that later. All right, my number 7 is Superman by REM / The Click, because I didn't realize that the REM version was technically a cover. And this song I had heard and knew, but had forgotten about. And it's the one that's like, I am Superman. But yeah. The Tom McDonald one was like I said, it was my number 12. It was close. I liked the message, but it was really close. All right. Now we're officially on the same page. Number 6. Mr. Cole.
Number 6 is Remy Zero, Save Me.
And if anyone's like, that doesn't even talk about Superman. You cannot disassociate that song with Smallville. Like, it doesn't say Superman in it, but it is a Superman song. Okay? It's my podcast. Fight me.
I mean, any song that is a full-on musical song, like we're talking about, music playing, lyrics, it was written, it's played before Smallville. It is a Superman song.
I mean, this song still, when we get to the chorus, it still gives me chills and makes me want to just stand up and hold yourself higher. Yeah.
Even though the band is broken up,
it just
we
makes you feel
always
good.
remember this song.
You never, if you're a band, never sell your song to be a theme song for a show, because that'll be your one hit and only hit. You'll live off royalties from that forever if it's a hit show, like the Rembrandts.
The Rembrandts. I'm guessing Remy Zero maybe still.
But if you're already an established band and you've been doing it, and then you sell a song, that's different. But I'm just saying. All right, my number 6. Spin Doctors, Jimmy Olsen's Blues, from the album Pocket Full of Kryptonite. This is just a fun, interesting song because it's about Jimmy Olsen interacting with Superman and Lois Lane and having a thing for Lois Lane. And I just like the saying, pocket full of kryptonite. Mm-hmm. I got a pocket full of kryptonite. It's a fun song. I always love the album title. And, of course, this is the Spin Doctors album that has 2 Princes on it. The song everyone knows them for. And then I saw this. This is one I've known about, but I saw it years ago. Jimmy Olsen's Blues. Well, by golly, what is that? And I listened to it, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I highly recommend anyone just check out these songs and sample it. It's a fun list.
All right. It sounds exactly like I'm pretty sure I've heard this song before. Unless they have another song that sounds exactly like this. I know this song. I like this song, and I've almost always known of this song for mostly as long as I can remember.
So we're getting into our top 5, and I'm really curious of what they're going to be. I'm
betting they're probably similar.
Well, but the thing is, you've already named some of mine that are on the top 5. I think really our top 3 is where we're going to duke it out, but yet, but maybe not. I'm kind of interested what our number 1s are going to be. So, all right, but here we go. Number 5, Red.
Our Lady Peace, Superman's Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just another one of those songs that, like I've known for years.
Mm-hmm.
Just really good song, really catchy beat. Something that, listening to the radio is, would have heard on the radio.
Oh, I remember it coming out because his voice is just why. It's just
Yeah.
Now I did see Our Lady Peace in concert, and they played this song. And the irony is they were on tour with another band on this list.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I probably saw that band with somebody else, not Our Lady Peace.
So I will mention when we get to that band
Me too.
who it'll be. But
I'm assuming we're still talking about the same band.
we probably are. The only thing is I will say about Our Lady Peace in concert was their song at the time was I think it's called Gravity, and it has a really big chorus on the recording, but live it was like not that thick full chorus. I don't know because they weren't going to play with backtracks and it had like orchestration on the album, so it felt so weird when they played it live, and it was just like this very thin chorus. You're like expecting this big kind of swell and like
excuse me.
But
right,
my number 5. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say before we really get into it, because I probably have a little more to say about these other ones coming up, but the fact of Tyler being a musician, he has like some more insider appreciation for the songs, whereas I'm just a music enjoyer, just a listener, just enjoy.
Like some of these I've actually like learned to play or have played for fun.
I enjoy playing instruments, but for me, when it never really came down to like the whole rhythm and making the music, it was kind of like just trying to play the notes in the order and the way that they're, set and timing and everything. It felt way more technical to me.
Gotcha. I believe everyone can play.
It didn't really work out.
Everyone can play an instrument. They just have to find the right one. That's my core belief. My number 5 is Superman song.
I played the violin pretty good when I was younger.
I tried the viola. That's where I started. I started with the viola, and then my school got an upright bass, and I did that, and that's what carried me on. I took guitar lessons just to learn. I took drum lessons just to learn, because just to get the rhythm. And I would have liked to have kept. I didn't want to be a drummer, but I would have liked to have kept up with the lessons just to help practicing the different coordination it takes to play drums.
Well, it's just, speaking of drums, it is very different coordination just from playing Rock Band. It is incredibly different coordination to play the drums than it is to play, because I played a guitar, and I played a violin, and I played a piano, and it's very different playing the drums than it is playing.
I could never play Rock Band because I always wanted to play it like with a rhythm, like I was playing an instrument, but you're just playing with, you're playing it like a controller. Like I actually played it with a controller one time and did better than trying to play it with like the faux instruments. But
yeah. Well, I think especially since you know how to play like the guitar, I think maybe if you knew how to play the drums and you were playing the drums and you played it on a higher difficulty, that way like you were going all over for all of the colors, it might feel a little different, but I can absolutely see that. Yeah, it's playing music with a control.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, but my number 5 is the Crash Test Dummy Superman song. I had never heard this song, and I feel like out of all these, this was probably like the diamond in the rough because it is an older song. And it is so somber and mellow, but it's a beautiful story of Superman. The chorus is like, Superman never made any money. It started off weird because like Tarzan, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then it goes like Clark Kent, and I was like, okay. And then like it mentions, never fighting Solomon Grundy. He's like, they had to move on, forget Krypton. I'm like, okay, like this song is pulling references and really digging into like the mythology of this character. And it really was a reflection, I think, of Superman and like just telling his story. And it was just like, why is this song not more well known in the Superman community?
Right.
So
I think the interesting like starting off with Tarzan and then the whole middle section being like talking about Superman and then kind of doing a little Tarzan thing in the end, but then turning it back around to Superman is a little interesting and weird.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like you said, like the mythology telling like that story the way he does about Clark Kent and Superman, yeah. It was a good song. Very unique.
All right. James Cole, number 4.
My number 4 is Spin Doctors.
Nice.
And since it wasn't so far off, I kind of just went in and talked about it then because it wasn't that far off. And I don't have a whole lot more to say. Just a song that I enjoy. Song that, turn it on. That I would put on like a Superman Spotify playlist.
Oh, yeah.
Of all just Superman songs.
All right. My number 4 is a song that I often reference, and I reference the song about James, is Waiting for Superman by Chris Daughtry. I come to really like this song more. Like, I think I heard it once before, but then like last year when I visited James, it was on. And I've come to appreciate it more, and I've listened to like acoustic versions that Daughtry has done live. Solomon Sailor really liked this song, Solomon especially. Of course, like, it's a story of a girl wishing she was dating, Superman, and she's waiting for like her Superman, but yet there's enough references to actually be about Superman. And earlier I mentioned, like, I love the structure and the way that Daughtry does this song. But if I could mix 2 songs together, it would be Tom McDonald's and Daughtry. Like, I would love to hear like a song like Waiting for Superman, but be about the context that the Tom McDonald song is. About the world needing Superman and waiting for Superman to save us, and like that whole like social like of needing the savior and stuff. Because I love the dynamics that Daughtry does in his song, like how it just keeps building. It stops, it starts on acoustic, slow build, and then when we get to like the second chorus, it's like just like really like like driving, and I love the dynamics of it. But it is just kind of about a girl wanting a good relationship and waiting for her, super, instead of like her knight in shining armor or holding out for her hero, she's waiting for her Superman, waiting for Superman. But yeah, that's my number 4, the James Cole theme.
All right,
here we go. Top 3. Number 3, James.
Number 3 is Three Doors Down, Kryptonite.
What's that song, James?
What's that song?
Yeah. What is that one?
Well, this is the band that I've seen them twice. They played the arena here, and they played with Shinedown. So actually 2 different tours, and they were on the same band, just different openers.
My number 3 is also Three Doors Down. So we can just talk openly about this one.
I was gonna say this is the one we were both referencing.
Yes, I saw it was Seether, Our Lady Peace, and I think Shinedown was supposed to be on that tour, but had to cancel because they weren't there. So it was just Seether, Our Lady Peace, and Three Doors Down.
So I don't remember Seether on the tour. I do remember Three Doors Down and Shinedown.
I saw Shinedown later with Seether and Hailstorm before Hailstorm actually was known and actually had their album out.
Oh, interesting.
It was
That
a
sounds
great
like a good
concert.
show.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Shinedown is amazing live. And it was when they did.
Yeah, they're really good.
It was the first time they had done their Simple Man, but done it as a full band. They hadn't released a recording of it yet. They just had the recording out of like the acoustic version. Oh my God. Just hearing the whole band do that was amazing.
Heck, this was when they came out. Yeah, Simple Man and 45, before their next album even had come out.
We probably saw the same tour, but you know, like sometimes, because I saw them in Columbus. And you know,
right,
sometimes
they came to Toledo here.
Sometimes bands will go on tour and like they'll have like a band or two that'll come for a while then leave. But you know, I mean, Kryptonite, it's in the title, you know, but you know, the chorus is, "Would you still call me Superman?" And it is kind of like you can look at it, the character in a sense, talking and singing, almost like he's singing to Lois, like, "What happens if I lose it? You know, would you call me Superman?" It's a great song. I mean, it's one of those songs that got played everywhere, but you go back to it and you see where just that opening guitar riff. And I mean, the video is crazy about an old, you know, retired superhero running around. But it is a really good song.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs that's like really simple to play that gets monotonous. Like if you're the bass player, because you're just playing the whole thing the whole time. But it is a
it's definitely a banger. Everybody knows the song. If you play it, everybody will have a good time to it.
I think I know what your number 2 is.
You want to guess or
no? I'm not going to guess because we're about to do it. But I'm like, just based on where we're at, I'm like,
well, yeah. Well, my number 2 is Five for Fighting. It's nice.
Shit. Nice. I would have been wrong.
I mean,
what's up, everybody? Chase Smith here from the Chase Smith Podcast and Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
And I'm JD, host of the Hyman Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, and we are super excited to bring you a brand new show starting next Tuesday, the Fanfare Podcast.
The Fanfare Podcast is all about your favorite movies and our favorite movies and the best moments in cinema. To help guide our discussion, each episode will feature one classic, and we will grade this movie using a report card-like scale A through F. We're going to be grading categories like acting, directing, cinematography, the score, and even the movie poster itself.
And when we're not featuring a movie report card, we'll be sharing our movie rankings, franchise deep dives, actor and director interviews, and everything in between. Movies have been a major part of our lives, and we cannot wait to share our thoughts with you.
Our premiere episode will drop Tuesday, June 27th, and JD and I will be reviewing Raiders of the Lost Ark in preparation of the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on June 30th, the 5th installment of the franchise.
Join us on the Fanfare Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Here at Krypton Report, we believe in the power of podcasting, the power of speaking your voice and speaking something that comes from you. So here's a couple of podcasts you can check out with people sharing their voice.
I am Brian Peters, the creator and host of Gravely Amusing. For the past 30 years, I've studied the history of gods and monsters in pop culture and our world. As a student of theology and history, I've tried to understand evil and its impact on us. As a writer, I've tried to share this knowledge. As a comedian, I've tried to make people laugh as I do it. But as a man-child, I'm still that scared 7-year-old boy. Join me as I share the history of horror and sci-fi, discuss classic and modern pop culture, and share a creepy story or two. This podcast may scare you, it may horrify you, or it may leave you gravely amused. Listen to Gravely Amusing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter at Gravely_Amusing or on TikTok at Gravely Amusing.
Hi, I'm Taria Maynard, and this is my co-host, Jania Patrick. We're a couple of sisters in Central Ohio who created a podcast. Our podcast is called The Confessing Heretics.
The basic premise of the podcast right now, as we see it, is we're going to talk to you guys about our stories in religion, would you say?
This podcast is about sharing our truths, our religious traumas, and our histories. We'd love for you to join us on our journeys as we talk about our pasts and discover more about ourselves along the way. We will be featured on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just look for The Confessing Heretics.
We have a $1 Patreon. Yes, I know everyone asks for money, but our $1 Patreon each month gets you commentary tracks for releasing movies, DC movies. It gets you my Requel series where I pitch ideas about movie sequels, prequels, or whatever. It also gets special bonus episodes of whatever else some of the friends of the network chime in and drop. So check that out for $1 a month. That's all we ask. Keep it cheap, keep it simple, and help us keep going. Check out the link in the show notes or Patreon Krypton Report.
Follow the link in the link tree or in the show notes below, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
So I definitely would have been wrong, but you know, what you got?
Interesting. I'll definitely have to ask after we get there, unless my number one is whatever.
It better be, or else I'll be really shocked. But
I'm pretty sure you probably know exactly what my number one is at this point. It's a really good song. Really great song. Emotional, really speaks to, Superman just being a person who goes through, emotional turmoil like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And they played it on Smallville at least once, maybe twice.
I totally forgot. It was on Smallville. It was, they had this song on Smallville, and it was actually the first time the word kryptonite was ever said on the show was in this song, because they hadn't actually used the term kryptonite yet when the song played.
Yeah, because it was definitely a moment with Lana, and I'm thinking it was the drive-in moment. Maybe that was another song, but I'm thinking that's when it was with Lana, when he put on a drive-in on the side of the barn for the two of them
to watch cartoons and eat popcorn.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's the first time it was in there, or the time because it was very early on.
Well, speaking of Smallville, my number 2 is Remy Zero, Save Me. I just feel like this is a song that's like, it's so synonymous with Smallville, and the chorus is Somebody Save Me. It's like this. It's like the anthem for the person needing Superman. And at the same time, if you look at it in the context of Smallville, like Clark sometimes needs saving from himself and his self-doubt. But he does a whole lot of saving in that show.
I was gonna say
it's like
the coming from the perspective of the person needing saving. I'm like, that's every single episode. Like, it's a perfect song.
So here we go. Number 1. And we would have honorable mentions here, but we already named some since James started on 11.
It wasn't
Number
numbered.
one.
It was just on a checklist on my phone.
All right. What is your number one?
My number one is Daughtry, Waiting for Superman.
Yep. See, I thought that would be your number two, but
Oh yeah? Okay.
yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking. But yeah, I mean, for so many of the reasons that you said, one being, you talked about you being here and listening to it because it was playing for the baby. The baby is a rockhead like all of us, certainly like me. Her nap time music has been disturbed. Well, it's a little different now. She's 2. Things have changed. She's not exactly like laying down for a nap, and we use more soothing sounds. But for a long time, she wanted music, and it was always Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch and Amy Lee, Evanescence, and Daughtry. And she really liked Daughtry, and I mean, that's part of why, if anybody's seen my Spotify story, that Daughtry was like my top listened to artist of the year. I'm surprised Waiting for Superman wasn't the top song, but honestly, that was a Spotify random thing playing. You know what I mean? Playing a song more than it played others. But yeah, and the music video plays out that story of the song of a girl waiting for her Superman, somebody to save her, and care for her. And in the music video is I'm blanking on the actor's name, but he was John Connor in the Terminator television series.
Oh, the Sarah Connor Chronicles?
Yeah, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. He was John Connor in that. And he plays a young man who, in his own right, is downtrodden like the girl waiting for him. And he he's getting into trouble and getting kicked out of places and like being chased by the cops and being like beaten up and stuff, and he ends up like going and helping her in a situation, and they kind of walk off together. So I enjoy the video playing out the story very well. So just the correlation, the song, it's very enjoyable for me. And I think you sent me a link to an acoustic, and I really like that as well. I like a lot of acoustic versions of a lot of different songs as well.
Yep.
That is kind of a very one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm listening to music is like acoustic sets and stuff.
It's so interesting, acoustic songs. You can hear like when it's really good, and then I hear some that I'm like, that is not that great.
Right, like Nirvana's Unplugged acoustic set. Freaking how many years ago now? How many decades ago now?
See, I love when you can do a good acoustic and you do, like, you make the drums more, like, drums are an acoustic instrument, but like playing with some brushes, but then you get a good acoustic electric bass, thrown in there. Like, I'm not a huge fan when people do quote unquote acoustic songs, but then they throw in a piano. But like a rock, like back to Unwritten Law did a whole album. It was like a greatest hits album, so it was all acoustic. It was called Music from the High Place or something like that. And just the arrangements, they all used acoustic guitars, like the acoustic bass. It just really kept the feel of the song, but in an acoustic way. And it was It was really, really good.
Oh yeah,
All right.
I've got a bunch, or at least I did at one point. There's a Beautiful Lie. There's an acoustic version of that that's really good. Some Aaron Lewis playing some acoustics. Oh crap! What's some other ones that I've listened to over the years? I'll think about that.
So, all right, my number one is It's Not Easy, Five for Fighting. I think this is a beautiful song. It's emotional. It gets me, the imagery of the song. It's fun to play. Like the chords are very simple to play. It's actually it's a chord arrangement that's not that unheard of. But it's the way you play it that puts the emotion, and I think it is a very reflective song of is the character, especially I think of the time when it came out, because Smallville was just starting. It's very much a theme for that character. There's like a beautiful edit on YouTube where someone took clips from all kinds of different Superman properties to the song, and it just makes the feeling of the song and the story of the song and it's even visceral in its description of things like the home I'll never see.
Yeah.
I'm just a man in a silly red sheet, just a man looking for a dream. Like it is so much to the character, but just how a lot of people can see themselves. Like it's not easy to be me. Like, there are people who have difficult jobs and difficult lives, and we can all kind of be our own Superman and just the good that we do. And I think it's a song that you can kind of carry with you and make it a companion to you. But yeah, that's my number one.
Well, great stuff.
Yeah, there's no wrong answers.
Oh no. And like I said, besides your top 3, 4, 5, maybe, like the rest of them could rotate.
It was good. We didn't have all the same stuff.
No,
we had a couple differents out there, and I enjoyed that.
I didn't think we were gonna have Superman Lover on here.
Yeah. The one by the Brothers 4 or the Stereophonics. That's my number 20. That was garbage.
Yeah.
But I was curious of what would show up, and I do think it's funny. The only one we had the same was number 3, and it was Kryptonite. But everyone, check out the show note links in the bottom. Make your own list. Make your own top 10 or make your own. I think top 10 is fun because I thought James and I would have a very much similar top 5 or even top 3, and we proved to just have the same 3. Number 3, that is. So it really can vary on what your opinions are. Check it out. Let us know. And remember,
look up in the sky.
We just want to say, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough Super Talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, the Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our